Hello, today we are discussing the book I Am Okay, You Are Okay by Thomas Harris. This book discusses about the transactional analysis, which is actually a concept from Eric Berne. There are some key concepts in this theory, and I invite you to watch and listen to the explanation for each of them. The first key concept is the fact that each social interaction is a transaction, and the transactional analysis aims to study such social interactions. The second key concept is the fact that each of us has three parts or states of his or her personality: parent, adult, and child. The parent is formed in the first 5 years since birth of a person, and it basically registers all that happens externally of the child from a figure that he finds with authority. Usually, this figure is the mother, the father, but it can also be any other person that is taking care of the child. It is important to understand that the information from the parent are not filtered in any way. The child cannot know whether something is true or not. He just takes them as they are. Usually, the information from the parent are information about how to do some stuff, and also some things like never do that or always do that. Also, during the first 5 years of the child, the third actually part of the personality, the child, is formed. The child, as opposed to the parent, contains the internal events, the feelings that the child had. It also contains the curiosity, the need to explore, the need to feel that the child has. The third part of the personality is formed later on once the child starts to walk, and this part is called the adult. It can be considered as the computer which actually takes the information, analyzes them, and uses them in case they are appropriate. The adult is never truly finished compared to the parent and the child. It continues to incorporate new information throughout the life. Another key concept in the transactional analysis is the existence of four life positions based on the relationship I have with myself and with others, the relationship which can be okay or not okay. We will get into details in a separate slide. Of course, that these three parts that we described can can also intertwine, and intertwine or actually be excluded. And we see here in the example for the contamination, the adult is being contaminated with information from the parent. Such informations are taken for granted and might no longer be true once the adult is grown up. A second type of contamination is the adult being contaminated by the child. Here, an example is an example where a person without any external stimulus but only internal stimulus, something that reminds him or her about something traumatic in the childhood, has some hallucination. Usually, this is triggered by fear. The second type of pathology can be the exclusion of any of the three parts. You can see here the child being excluded, and Thomas Harris calls such a person as quote, a person who cannot play, quote ended. The parent can be excluded, and Thomas Harris calls such a person as being a person without consciousness, or even the adult can be excluded. Moving forward to the transactions, there are two types of transactions, complementary or crossed. We will start by looking at the complementary transactions, and you see here on the slide various examples. From parent to parent, the response being also from parent to parent, from adult to adult, from child to child, or moving to the next slide, from parent to child, from child to parent, or from parent to adult, from adult to parent, or from child to adult, from adult to child. Such transactions imply that the persons keep their role throughout the conversation and they can go on forever. In the cross transactions, the person have some roles that actually do not allow the transaction to continue. Such example would be parent to child, adult to adult, or vice versa in case you start the other way around. So the first person goes from adult with a transaction towards an adult, but the response comes from a parent towards a child, or from child to parent, from adult to adult, or from parent to child, from parent to child, or from child to parent, from child to parent. Such transactions end briefly because the persons are talking from different states which can actually not continue the transaction. They are called crossed because they are no longer parallel, they have an intersection point. Moving forward to the life positions, as I said in the start of this conversation, the life positions are basically how we perceive others, marked as you here, and ourself marked as I. And we can perceive as not okay or as okay. And let's move through all of the four quadrants that we see here. The first one is the position I am not okay, you are okay. According to Thomas Harris, this is the position in which the child starts in his life due to the parents, the person who is taking care of him or her, coming with so many restrictions. This the child perceives as being something wrong with him or her. The second position is the position in which I am not okay, you are not okay. And this position is usually found when the person who is taking care of the child, usually the mother, is being absent and the child perceives this as being abandoned. And such, the mother is not okay and he or she is also not okay. The third position is the position in which you are not okay, but I am okay. This position is usually found when the child is abused or treated poorly, badly, and science has also proven that some criminals are also having this life position, and actually this is something that mentally gives them permission to do the bad things they do. And the fourth position is the position I am okay, you are okay. This is a position in which we should aim and decide consciously that we want to be, because it is the best position that we can live our life from. As a summary, we looked at the transactional analysis. We discovered that each of us has a personality formed of three parts: the parent, the adult, and the child. We also discussed a little bit about transactions, about the social interactions which can be complementary and crossed, and at we also looked at some pathologies such as contamination of the adult with the information from the parent or from the child, or actually having a part excluded from our personality. And last but not least, we looked at the four life positions that a person can be in. Thank you very much for your attention. This was a review for the book I Am Okay, You Are Okay by Thomas Harris. I recommend reading the book for more examples and more information. The author actually provides some examples from his practice as psychotherapist, in his practice and in his work, even with people with pathologies, and I think this helps us understand better and being able to apply it actually in our day-to-day life. Thank you. Books for dinner. Diverse food for a healthy mind.